It's the Score North Twin Show. Baseball.
Boy, the Twins settle in. Strap in, folks, because the Twins are at Target Field for the long haul here. We got a couple of interleague series this weekend. We got St. Louis, and then we got Atlanta early next week, and then Toronto through Sunday, September 1st. So this might be a good time to dust off the Dex plan here. So this would be, we've done, I think, 7 of these.
Yes, we've done 7. I have all of them written down to a degree, but I don't have the results of a couple of them. But
I do. I have them all.
Do?
So yeah,
Sweet.
we've got. So starting way back in April, we started putting together the Dex plan. Okay, for this next chunk of games, if you could go, 9-4, that would get you to this record, and that would be a success. So, like early in the year when they were under 500, they were 6-11 at one point. And then the Dex plan 1 was got to go 9-4 against Tigers, White Sox, Angels here, and they went 11-2. And from that point forward, we feel like Declan, our Twins beat podcaster here on the Score on Twin Show, has inspired the Twins. So we've done 7 of them, and they have hit your benchmark 5 times out of the 7. Dex plan 1, 3, 5, 6, and 7 have all hit. They've all reached the bar. But it's been like a month.
it has been a while.
We've done one of these. So we'll do a random Twin of the Week here as well. But okay, so 9-game homestand. What do we expect? What would be acceptable here?
So 9 games, and I also want to take a look to or bring up the fact that Cleveland is playing at home this entire stretch too, that the Twins are at home. But the Guards will be playing 10 games because they have a double header against KC this coming Monday, August 26th. So they'll have 3 against Texas to start this weekend, 4 against the Royals in 3 days next week, off on Thursday, and then Labor Day weekend, sans Labor Day, they have 3 games against the Pittsburgh Pirates, also at home. And right now, the Twins enter play on Friday, 2 games back.
And tied with the Royals. So the best case would be those 2 teams. Do we want next week, do we want the Royals and the Guardians to split that 4-gamer?
You would want, in my opinion, you would want the Royals to win that series because the Guardians have the advantage over the Twins in a tiebreaker. The Twins have the advantage over the Royals in a tiebreaker.
Okay.
So
the Royals, by the way, run differential. These teams are all like crammed together, wins and losses. The Royals have by far the best run differential between Guardians, Twins, and Royals. They have the second best run differential in the American League, only 15 run difference with the Yankees. Like the Royals are making a case, despite being in 3rd place in the division, that they are the best team in the American League by a lot of different metrics. Suspiciously, I might add, because at home they are oddly Babe Ruthian 1 through 9 up and down that line.
They are the 87 Twins when it comes to home and road splits.
Yeah.
And like the Twins had, okay, you're playing on AstroTurf and the opposing team is losing fly balls in the ceiling. It made some sense, but I don't know.
Yeah, they haven't closed the door on 1-run games. They're a 500 team in 1-run games. Kansas City is, and that's been a difference maker in them probably not living up to their expectations of where their record should be from a run differential standpoint. So let's do this because I think it's going to be very difficult with the Royals, or excuse me, with the Guards playing 10 and the Twins playing 9. The Twins would have to be 2.5 games better than the Guards over the stretch of days, right? Because because the Guards have an extra game in hand to play. So I'll just say this: I think the Twins have to go 6-3 over the 9 games here. They have to go 6-3.
I want to document this. I'm going to make sure. We're on a heater here with the Dex plans.
That's also a very reasonable ask.
Yeah, because the
Toronto
Cardinals,
and St. Louis, and
the
Atlanta's
Blue Jays are a
banged.
mess.
Atlanta's banged up a little bit here, but I would actually say Atlanta's probably the toughest of these 3 series.
I agree.
So, but that means basically you're going 2 of 3. You're winning each of these series individually, going 2 of 3. And obviously the Dex plan in the 6-3 happens no matter what. They could lose 3 in a row and then win 6 in a row.
Win 2 or 3 in each one, which is not you saying something unreasonable. So 6-3 seems very fair.
So 6-3. I think the Twins have to go 6-3, which would mean the Guards, even if they went, because they play 10 games. So if the Guards go 4-6 over their 10 games, the Twins would they have a half, correct me on my math here, would they have a half game lead over the Guards in that situation?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But
what about Kansas
the
City?
Royals are sitting in there too.
Right. Here they come.
Because if the so now obviously the Royals and Twins are tied. So if you were to go 6-3, and the Guardians were to go, let's just take it apples to apples. We're to go 3-6, and then we'll worry about the extra game on the end later. And the Guardians were to go, or the Royals were to go. Sorry, Guardians 3-6 or worse. Yep. Stick with me.
Confused.
I know.
Guardians 3-6 or worse, which is, they're still a good team, but they've lost a couple games again. They lost 7 in a row at one point. Twins 6-3 or better. Royals 6-3 or worse. Twins would be in first place in a week and a half from right now.
Dude. Royals, this is probably honestly their toughest stretch of the season here. Oh man, and it continues. So they have 3 against the Phillies this weekend. Kansas City does. Then the 4 in 3 days in Cleveland. Then 4 in Houston.
Yeah.
Then they play 3 more in Cleveland. Or excuse me, home against Cleveland, and then home again against the Twins, and then 3 at the Yankees.
Yep.
They have 3 weeks here where they're playing above 500 teams.
Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe if you're the Twins, do you just maybe take this opportunity to rest up for the playoffs, knowing how hard Kansas City's schedule?
No question about it.
It's a gauntlet.
You just lay out exactly right.
Aaron Judge, by the time that series rolls around, might be going for 65th home run.
No kidding. But I mean, yeah, I do feel. I mean, this is the tightest division in baseball, and it's been a blast. Honestly, it's obviously surprised a ton of people, considering it was arguably one of the worst divisions of all time last season. But it's been fun to watch all 3 of these teams do. I'd rather have this. I mean, last year, the Twins were still losing some games. They've turned it on the last 2 months, but Cleveland was just so bad that the Twins would still gain momentum or gain a game or keep the standings going because Cleveland couldn't finish down the stretch. So I love this. I think it's great. And then Judd and I talked about this yesterday. Last homestand of the series is Twins hosting the Baltimore Orioles. I mean, there could be seating on the line for both those teams there. The Twins aren't going to be in a position, at least going into the last weekend of the series, most likely, that both those teams are going to be jockeying for positioning in the playoffs.
Do you purposely lose to Baltimore to play them and avoid going to Yankee Stadium? Do you sandbag?
It's a question we may build an episode around going into that
sandbag because you don't want to play Baltimore, but you don't want to play the Yankees, especially in a 2 or 3er.
On the Royals, real quick. So so we're saying Dex 8.0. We're looking at the next 9 games, 6-3. Focus on our own house here, so 6-3, and then we'll sort of look out on the peripheral at Cleveland and Kansas City and see what's happening. Right, so 6-3. On Kansas City, real quick. This is one of the craziest 1-year turnarounds in the history of Major League Baseball. The way they're pacing right now, because they're pacing to win is it 92 or 95 games or something?
Yep.
After winning 56 last year. They could legitimately, if they get a little hot, and I think that schedule is going to prevent them from really pacing toward 95 plus wins, but they were 56-106 last year. And there's been some really bad Kansas City teams. Some of those teams in the early 2000s, those teams in the late 90s. But that was the worst wins-losses. That was tied for the worst record in Kansas City Royals history. The only other time they lost 106 was in 2005. But this is kind of their organization. They were founded in 1969. They were decent with George Brett in the 80s. They won the World Series 85. Since 1985, they've been garbage almost every single year, except the random they popped up for 2 years.
Because their prospects bounce up.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's kind of, it's the same thing that happened like 10 years ago where garbage,
Hosmer.
garbage. And then, there's a bunch of good young players all
Gordon.
coming up at the same time.
Exactly.
So, yeah, by the way, they have the second best run differential in the entire major leagues, not just the American League. It is Yankees number 1, Royals number 2.
If you guys have looked at this, but my guy, the guy the Twins didn't want, Michael Lorenzen, 4 starts for the Royals, 1.99 ERA. He's helped them out a lot. They made deadline. They get credit for that. They made deadline moves. They said, hey, you know what? We're damn good. And they made moves. And I do appreciate that. Give yourself a chance.
I think now, is Lorenzen going to start in a playoff series? I get the Twins' argument that, hey, we got a couple of young guys that we'd rather just ride it with David Festa and see what happens.
It's just the depth and being able for now to stay very much in the race. And they've played great of late. Kansas City is really, I think, since they played the Twins, and it's weird, the Twins struggled to beat Cleveland. The Royals struggled to beat the Twins, but I think since they played the Twins, they've played fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And also, since we're talking division here, we might as well, before we get to a random Twin of the Week, the White Sox pour one out. Maybe you guys touched on this yesterday, but
don't think we bothered.
The White Sox. It is August 23rd, and the White Sox are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs with like 5 weeks to go in the season.
The disintegration of that roster is one of the most surprising things. I mean, I thought that franchise was coming. If you recall, they had a bunch of good young players.
Yeah.
And they hadn't been this bad by any means, but they hadn't been good. And I thought, and then was it 3 or 4 years ago? It might have been in 20. They made the playoffs, and they got bounced pretty quickly. But it's like, okay, here come the White Sox. And my God, they just went in the crapper.
Yeah, people were trying to clown Jeff Passan because he had a tweet like 2 years ago, like around this time when the Sox were going to win the division, and he was like, look at all this talent. This is going to be the White Sox division for years to come. And to Judd's point, it has not gone to plan. I remember in 2019, Dylan Cease was just getting rocked at Target Field and was like, I don't know, man. Like, even though he's getting rocked, he's a highly regarded prospect. He's super young. He's probably going to figure this out. And now he's in San Diego, but he's one of the 10 best starting pitchers in baseball.
They had a crazy crop of young talent.
Yes.
They did.
Robert Jimenez, who I think got traded to Baltimore, Eloy. That pitching staff. Kopech's gone to the Dodgers and been lights out,
to the surprise of no one.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like they had all of these guys, and I don't know what the hell happened.
I will say, listen, like we rag on the Twins for different things, and there are things that they deserve to be ragged on for, the trade deadline stuff over the years. But we have it pretty good around here with a competent, competitive Major League Baseball team.
Yep.
Some of these front offices, and Chicago is the face of this, are so bad. Here's my favorite statistical way to show you how bad the White Sox have been this year. Obviously, they're going to have 100 losses before September, which is wild. Mm-hmm. In a sport in which the average offense scores 4 runs per game, the White Sox have been outscored by 259 runs with 5 weeks to go in the season.
That's incredible.
Think about the math needed to be outscored by 259 runs with 5 weeks to go in the season in a sport in which the average offense scores 4 runs.
I know. So their GM is Chris Getz, who I think is new. But what makes no sense, too, is, so you suck, right? Like, you're terrible. Division teams called you to try to make trades to obtain your guys who can help the division opponent for a very short time period, right? And they won't make trades.
Yeah.
Like when the Twins call you and say, we want Kopech, you should say, okay, here's what you're going to give us. And then it's possibly the Twins that get haunted by the prospect. But the White Sox are like, no, we don't trade within the division. What is that? You're terrible.
It's wild, man.
Why?
It is wild. So, yeah, big homestand. If you haven't been checking out, maybe the Twins are piquing your interest here now down the stretch. Dex is pumping out extra innings shows on top of the regular Score North Twin shows. We got this brand new Score North Twin Show YouTube channel. If you haven't clicked the subscribe button, please do that. And then a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple and Spotify helps us grow the Score North Twin Show as well. Okay, before we get to random Twin of the Week, I'm told that we have B-roll footage of my first trip to Park Dental. And I have not. Look at
there it is.
Macadac walking in. I found a new dentist.
Oh my God,
Park
this
Dental.
is shot really well. Who is this?
It's a legitimate professional videographer came in to document. Look at me meeting the dentist.
Yep.
Now it was a little awkward as we're sitting there talking about I get some TMJ pain below my left ear and there's a camera in my face, but
Yeah.
it was a great experience. My wife and I moved out of Minneapolis to Seattle for a couple years, came back, and my old dentist had retired, so I was dentistless. Needed to get my teeth cleaned, some x-rays, and so I've found a new dentist, Park Dental, over 50 years caring for and cleaning teeth in Minnesota and Western Wisconsin. You can schedule your checkup at parkdental.com. Parkdental.com.
That was Scorsese-like.
It was.
It's a great.
Like
It
there
really
was
was.
slow-mo at one point.
I know it was you, Fredo.
Yeah, exactly.
You broke my heart.
Exactly
Very
right.
exciting. Yeah, I don't know. Do we have? There's got to be more. I feel like there was a lot more footage that
I
we
hope
could
there's more
cram
that
up there too.
You know what? Don't show it all now. Roll it out slowly.
At one point, I had the dentist tools, and I was going in. Old Macadac, open wide.
Here's Johnny.
Okay, Judd has a random twin of the week for us here. Here's how this works. Judd has a series of clues. It's losers out every week. Judd got beat last week. Burt Blyleven was the random twin last week.
Bad beat.
Declan has 2 wins in a row. He's up to 16 wins all time. Judd has 15. I'm leading the pack with 20 wins all time. Burt Blyleven, Sergio Romo, Marwin Gonzalez, Kenny Rogers, Butch Weiniger are the last handful of random twins. So Judd has a series of clues. He will throw them out. We get up to 3 incorrect guesses each, competing against each other. If one of us hits a third strike, the other one wins automatically. And we can control F to see if a player has been used before, but no Googling, no cheating. Here we go.
Alrighty. This random twin played for 5 big league clubs.
A little bit of a journeyman.
A bit of a journeyman.
Yeah.
He was a 17th round draft choice after playing shortstop in college. As far as I can figure out for the most recent entry on his Wikipedia page, he is now a high school baseball coach.
Okay.
It looks like he started coaching high school baseball a couple of years ago and still is. He finished in the top 10 for Rookie of the Year voting.
Do they even do? Is it even 10 guys that get votes for rookie? I thought it was
was
like
not-
6 or 8.
He was 9th.
Sometimes,
Okay.
I feel like sometimes, I think it's like you vote first, second, third, maybe.
Yeah.
So he received votes, and sometimes you don't see the list go much beyond 7 or 8.
This prestigious honor came with a senior circuit team, a National League team. This random twin played 15 games at catcher and 3 at first base in his career. Certainly not his primary spot, but he would put on the tools of ignorance now
I'm
and
gonna
then.
control F real quick. I have a guess.
Okay.
Trying to
Panel
decide
will
how
wait.
aggressive I want to be.
Panel will wait. Panel's waiting.
I think it'd be impressive if this was the guy. No, we have not used him.
The pitch clock is running.
I feel like I can wait. Declan's pretty patient usually, so I feel like burning a guess here would be. I'll go one more clue.
All right. The only award he won during his major league career was a Silver Slugger honor.
Oh,
Is this
So, the baseball reference page,
is this Josh Willingham?
is it Josh Willingham, a.k.a. the Hammer, a.k.a. a shortstop in college? It is Josh Willingham.
dude! Wow, impressive.
Very good.
3 consecutive wins for the Dexter.
Very good, Dexter. Really back
Wow.
on track.
Okay. The Silver Slugger obviously helped, but I lost my page. I remember he had Rookie of the Year votes. I did know that with Florida, with the Marlins,
Yeah.
I believe. And then I thought there was some, as I would just peruse random baseball reference pages at night with my insomnia, I thought I remember him being a catcher at one point.
He was.
Yeah.
I totally forgot.
He actually started some games at catcher.
Currently on the Twins, Kyle Farmer came up as a catcher with the Dodgers. Like, if we have a Dodger catcher square on the next immaculate grid, Kyle Farmer.
Kyle Farmer.
0.1%.
Wow. So Declan with his
Very nice.
17th career win.
What?
Who was
Who was your guess, Phil?
Sam Fuld was my guess.
Okay.
Super Sam Fuld, who I think also maybe played some catcher.
He's the Phillies GM now. Is that right?
Let's see here.
Is that Sam Fuld who's GM of the Phillies now?
Yeah, I think so.
He is the current general manager.
Former Twins and
42-year-old
GM
general
roles.
manager.
Craig
Breslow,
right?
Breslow with the Red Sox. A lot of slappies
curveball.
have gotten jobs.
Brezzy. So I'm trying to see if Sam Fuld played catcher. I don't think he did ever. I was wrong on that.
Okay. Well,
Anyways, Josh Willingham, the hammer.
Good job.
Mr. Personality.
God, was he in? Watching him try to play left, poor guy.
It was an adventure, but he had a grooved path 430 feet to left field with that.
I didn't even get into the
right-handed
home run
swing.
background, which I had like 15
I mean,
clues.
Well, yeah, give
I'm
us
not-
a couple more clues.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds here. I got to get him called back up.
So I'm
on
not
my
patting
phone.
myself in the back, but that's one of the more impressive wins on Random Twin of the Week.
It was good. It was that was. Yeah, I mean, you didn't have that much to work with there. 5 major league teams, which is kind of a lot. Yeah, he went to Kansas City at the end.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Oakland for a minute.
So his 195 career home runs included 61 with the Twins. He hit 63 home runs with his first team, which, as Dex said, is the Marlins. His big league managers included Jack McKeon, Joe Girardi, Freddie Gonzalez, Manny Acta, Jim Riggleman, Bob Guerin, Bob Melvin, Gardenhire, and Ned Yost.
That's a wild list of managers for a career that was maybe 10 years.
Yeah, well,
holy cow.
The-
Jim
lots of changes
Riggleman?
with his teams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the-
because if you
Washington.
recall, the Nationals, so the Nationals hired, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jim was the third base coach. They blew out Acta. Riggleman had some success, and like the next year, they had like some type of contract stalemate, and he just quit.
That's right.
So like instead of like staying, he's just like, I'm done. You guys are dysfunctional. I'm out of here.
It's crazy.
So anyway,
Amazing. Well, congrats to Dex, Josh Willingham, one of the great single-season offensive performances.
I got to
in
stop the
Twins
streak
history.
next week. Stop the streak.
Yeah, you've been you're on a month-plus drought here. Your last victory was Kenny Rogers, so you got to get Judd on the board.
Stop the streak.
I'll have the clues next week.
Fold Zolgad.
Be on the lookout for extra innings episodes, and we'll see if the Twins can live up to the pressure of the Dex Plan 8.0
It's
here.
not a lot of pressure. I think it's very fair.
This is the Score North Twin Show.
Baseball.